you expect a lead to be at this stage of their buying process, but then suddenly when you're actually having conversations, turns out, oh, actually they're completely different. Some of them are, sometimes, hopefully, more ready to go. They're just ready to sign on the dotted line. Some are not quite ready. They need a little bit more convincing, or even need a few hoops to jump through. If that makes sense. Can you give any examples of such in your experience?
They say comparison is always the route to unhappiness. And funnily enough, we find that the leads that people are used to in the first place will then dictate how they feel about the next lot of leads. And funnily enough, there was a really good example of this where there was a solar company and that organization was used to leads that were just cold data, calling out the white pages. And they were phoning all these people and it was a nightmare for them. And then when we provided email leads where people would get an email and they'd go through to a website and they'd fill in all their details, they were really hot leads, they were really ready to go. And they said, this is the best thing in the world. Then we said, okay, well, look, we're running out of that option. Let's start to do some survey leads for you. They're going to be a little bit cooler. Their sales team basically said, these leads are rubbish. They're not any good. We're not happy for them. So they turned them off. And they went back to cold calling. And they did that for a while. And they came back and said, have you got anything else? And we said, why don't you try survey leads again? Now you've done cold calling. And when they came back and they stepped up from cold calling rather than down from those leads, it felt great.
Best thing since sliced bread.
Exactly. And so one of the things you can think about is, what are the sales team used to and how can you use the leads differently? Do you have a different team that does the warm leads and the cold leads? Or do you reward your cold lead team with warm leads? Or do you just need to educate them and say, okay, look, these leads are going to be less hot than these ones, but if you want to keep receiving the hot leads, then you need to work through these in a different way. And here's the way you need to do this in the process. And you could even set up different commissions, because if you know that your sales team are going to struggle a little bit more with some of the leads, but you pay more for a salesperson, maybe they'll have a bit more grit and a bit more determination for each lead.